Hello everyone, it's Asa with Nia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to do this cute little crochet bee. I made him up a little while ago, so I'm really excited to show you how I did it and how to make this cute little bee. And he's really cute and squishy, and he's easy to hold in your hand. And if you wanted to, you can make him with Sweet Snuggles yarn or burlap blanket, and he'll turn out about this size, so he'll be a way bigger plush. He's about the size of my hand, as you can see, so yeah, he turns out a lot bigger if you use a 10mm crochet hook and the Sweet Snuggles. So we're going to start with black and yellow yarn, and also we're going to need white for the wings, but right now let's just start with the yellow. To start our little bee, we're going to take our string and hold it with the tail coming off our hands. We're going to hold it with our thumb onto our ring finger. So now we're going to take the other side of the string that's connected to the yarn ball, and we're going to wrap it around our hand so there's one line on the back. Then we're going to make an X shape here, overlapping the first one. We're going to make an X so it's like that, and then we're going to wrap it around and hold it again with our thumb so the X stays in place, and now you're going to have two strings on the back. So we're going to put our crochet hook underneath the first string, and then we're going to grab the back string without letting go with our thumb, and we're going to make a loop on our hook like that. We're going to grab the back string again and pull it through our loop, and that'll give us our magic ring shape. So now we're going to work 6 single crochets into this loop, and this will be the foundation for our crochet. So we're going to do, that's 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you can see, there's now 6 V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to take the tail that we left, and we're going to pull it tight, and it'll make this ring shape in the middle. So now we're going to take a stitch marker. So I just use safety pins, but you can use a stitch marker or whatever you have to mark where you ended this round. So we're going to mark it where our crochet hook is, the last stitch we made. And now make sure you don't start crocheting with your tail. We're going to grab our yarn and do increases all the way around until we have 12 stitches. So we're going to increase in the first one. We're going to do that in every stitch all the way around until you have 12. Okay, so that's 12 there, and you can count each bee as you go along. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now that we have 12 stitches, we're going to remove our stitch marker. We're going to move it up to the last stitch of that round. So the one right below your crochet hook is where you want to mark, and just close that in there so it's in the last stitch. So now we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase. I'm just going to check here. Yep. We're going to actually increase all the way around again. I was just looking at my notes of the pattern, so we're going to increase all the way around again until we have 24. That's 24. So now we're going to move our stitch marker up to the last stitch of that round. So now for 3 rounds, we're going to single crochet around, so there will be 24 at the end of the 3 rounds. So that's the end of the first of the 3 rounds. So actually, I like leaving my stitch marker in until, if I'm repeating a row several times, if I'm just single crocheting around as I am, I usually just leave it and leave my stitch marker until I'm done. It's just a personal preference because it's easier to count the rows. So you can do that, or you don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm just going to finish my 3 rounds now, leaving my stitch marker in place. So now I'm on the last stitch of the 3rd round, and I like to flip my work inside out once it starts curving, so it just makes the outside a neater stitch, and instead of having this stitch on the outside, you have this more defined stitch on the outside of your work. So now we're going to switch to black, so I'm actually going to get some scissors and cut this. So you want to still leave a bit of a tail, so I'm going to leave about that much. So we're going to act like we're doing a single crochet. In our last stitch of the 3rd round, we're going to pull it through and have those 2 loops on our hook. So now we're just going to let that sit for a second, and we're going to grab our other yarn. I think this yarn might be a little too thin, so I'm just going to grab a different black yarn. Okay, so this one looks a little bit better for size, so I'm just going to pull some of that out real quick so I don't have to be fighting with this skein the whole time. I'm going to just set the skein over there, and I'm going to collect all this yarn I just pulled out. Keep the tail in my hand. I'll put it over there so it's not chasing us around the whole time. So now that we have so we pulled it through as if we were doing a single crochet, but we're not going to grab that. We're going to actually grab our black yarn and leave a bit of a tail. We're going to pull the black yarn through instead of the yellow yarn. So we're going to just tighten that up by pulling both of the ends, and then we will start stitching around again. So I think we have one more round of single crochets then. Yep, we're going to single crochet around now. So I'm just going to tighten this a bit with the yellow thread. So now we're going to single crochet 24 with this black color. Okay, so now we have finished the round of black. So we're going to move our stitch marker up to the last black stitch. And black stitches are a little hard to do because they're harder to see. But so now we're going to separate our main yarn thread. We're going to flip it over. We're going to see these 2 threads. Ignore my cousins. But so we're just going to tie those together then. And then they're tied off and they won't come undone. We can snip that. Okay, so the next round's a bit more complicated. So we're gonna single crochet 7 to start. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to then bobble stitch. So a bobble stitch is basically a bunch of half double crochets in the same stitch. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch. We're going to pull through and just pull through 2. Don't pull through all 3. So there's 2, and then we're going to do that again without going through these 2 stitches. We're going to grab again more yarn and go through the 2 stitches, and we're going to do that until we have 6 loops on our hook. So now we have 4, 5 loops, so 1 more. So now we have 6 loops on our hook. You can count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now that we have 6 on our hook, we're going to pull through. We're going to pull through every single one of them all at once. So now we have just 1 left on our hook, and now you can push that out a bit, and that'll be the bee's arm. So sometimes the bobble stitch can kind of go over the next stitch, so make sure you don't miss it. But now we're going to single crochet 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and our last one is 8. So as you can see, that's going to be one of the bee's arms. So we're going to do that again, the same bobble stitch where you grab yarn and go through until you have 6 on your hook. Now we have 4, 5, and pull through all 6 of those loops and push it out a bit so it makes a bobble. And now we're going to single crochet 7 again. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now we're back at the beginning of our last round. So as you can see, the bee is forming. So we're going to do one more single crochet, like round of single crochets around, and that'll be 24 stitches again at the end. You should have 24 at this point. You'll pretty much have 24 for the next, like, until we're done the stripes. So we're going to single crochet around now, 24. Okay, so now that we're done that single crochet round, we're going to actually take out, on the last stitch of the round, we're actually going to take it out and go into it as if we were doing a single crochet. We're going to do another color change. So we're going to go into that last stitch. I'm going to trim this so it's a tail left. I'm just going to move my black out of the way for now. We're going to go to our yellow. It's a bit tangled, but okay, so now that we're going to pull through the black as if we were going to do a single crochet again, and then we're going to pull in the yellow yarn, and there's another color change, and we'll tie it off a little later. So I'm going to put my stitch marker in now. So, and we're going to single crochet for 3 rounds around. Okay, so now that we're finished our 3 rounds of single crochet, we're going to do another color change. Okay, so we're going to tie off our ends that we color changed again. What a mess. I'm just going to trim those. Okay, so now we're going to do single crochet. This is the complicated round again. So we're going to move our stitch marker up first. We're going to do 7 single crochets. See, that looks a lot better. Okay, so now we're gonna bobble. So once again, grab your yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull through, and go through 2 loops. And do that again and again until you have 6 loops on your hook. That's 3 loops, 4 loops, there's 6 loops. Go through them all, push it out a bit so it forms a bubble. Then we're going to single crochet 8. And 8. Here we go. Then we're going to bobble again. So yarn over, go into the next stitch with 2 loops until you have 6. Do that, yeah, repeat until you have 6 loops. There we go. Go through all those and push it out and do 7 single crochets. Okay, so before I start decreasing, I'm gonna add the eyeballs in. So I'm just gonna get them out. I have this whole big pack of eyeballs. It's an 800 pack that I just got off Amazon. I'll link it in the description for you guys. So let's see, what size did I use? I don't think I used the smallest, no. I think it was this size. So I'm gonna use that same size. I'm not quite sure how big these are, but they're not the big ones, but they're not the smallest size. So yeah, I'm gonna use those. You wanna put them in between rows 4 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna put them in between these 2 rows. And you can put them however close or far apart you would like them. I like them a little farther apart, kind of like this. I think my other one has a little bit farther apart eyes, but this looks okay. I might move this one over one. You could just adjust them until it feels right for you. And so mine are about 4 stitches apart. And then we're just gonna take a backing and put it on the back to secure the eyeballs in place so they aren't moving around. You can see they have a little spoke on the back, or whatever you call the pointy part, and you can just push the backings on and they should make a pop, and then they're in. So there are the eyeballs. Actually, single crochet around one more time. Okay, so we're gonna single crochet 1 and then decrease 1, single crochet 1, decrease 1 all the way around, and you should have 16 stitches after this, I think. Okay, so now we've gone all the way around. You can see it's starting to curve inward. So we're gonna stuff it now. I'm just gonna grab some stuffing and then I'll come back and we can stuff our little bee. Okay, so I have some stuffing here. We're just gonna fill them up with this bit of stuffing. A little stuffing hack for you. I know that actual stuffing, if you buy it, it's very expensive. It can be up to $50 to get a box of it. So, I always just buy like the $5 pillows from Walmart. If you cut them open, they've got plenty of good stuffing in there. And it's way cheaper than buying like polyfill and stuff. It's a lot cheaper if you just buy cheap pillows and take the stuffing out of them. So yeah, if you're a beginner and you don't have the budget to be paying for $50 for stuffing, just get some cheap pillows from Walmart or a grocery store or wherever you can get a cheaper pillow. I know even in Canada you could get them at Bargain Shop and stuff. So yeah, just buy the cheap pillows and cut them open and you can get the stuffing out of them. Okay, so now we are going to decrease all the way around, so we have 8 stitches. That's 8. So now we have our little bee and he is all done. I'm just going to snip this, but leave a little bit of a longer tail for sewing, I'm just gonna grab a darning needle. So I just bought these darning needles from our local general store just because I brought mine on vacation in the beginning of this month and I lost it. So I have no idea where it went, but yes, I just bought a new one. So I'm just gonna, I like twirling this a bit at the end so it all stays together. And we'll put it through. Now we can fasten off, which I could have done with the crochet. I could just go through the last loop, pull it tight. So now I'm just gonna take my stitch marker out because we don't need it anymore. I'll just leave it off to the side though. Don't lose it. Okay, so now to fasten off, we're just gonna go into every stitch, just like this, into every stitch that we can see. Might seem a bit strange, but at the end it works out. So just go through every single stitch until you reach the last one where your thread starts. So now all you have to do is just pull it and it'll pull your hole closed for you. I'm not quite sure why there is, oh, there it goes. So it is nice and tightly closed. You can see a bit of the stuffing came out, so I'm just gonna take that off with my fingers. Pretty easy to do. Now we can tie it off as if we're sewing, so just go into a stitch, go through the loop, pull it tight, and do that again in the same stitch. And it's very simple, you just push it in and poke it out anywhere you want, and pull it. And then if you trim it quite close to the edge of the like the bee, then if you just give it a squish and it goes in, so then it's all tightened off and you don't have to worry about that anymore. So now we have our little bee body, and now we're going to make some wings for him. So I'm just going to grab my white yarn now. Okay, so we're going to start by doing another magic circle. I'll just move some of this stuff out of the way so you can see. So I'm going to put my finger again and wrap it as an X, and then going to go under the first one and grab the back again, make a loop, grab the back again and pull through that loop, and you can tighten it a bit. So now we're going to do 6 into here, 6 single crochets, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're going to pull the tail again, so it's nice and tight. Then we are going to increase around, so just do 6 increases, which will leave you with 12 stitches. So 1, okay, so now we can pull that tail again, just to make sure it's nice and tight in the center. Now we're going to cut a tail, but leave long enough for sewing. We're going to fasten that off just by pulling through the last loop. And then I find it easier if you just go through one of the stitches, pull this through so it's nice and close to your other tail. And then we're going to tie them together just to secure the circle together. And it makes it a lot easier in the end because you don't have to worry about fastening off the other tail. Just like that, we have a wing. So just repeat that process. You can skip it back and watch it again. Just 6 single crochets in a magic ring and then increase around, and you should have 2 wings then when you're done. Okay, so now that we have our 2 wings made, they should look like this, identical, just with their tail on separate sides. But yeah, that is how they should look. As you can see, they would have both looked like that, and I just flipped one over. So like that, and I'm going to bring in my bee now, and we're going to sew them right here on top of this black stripe, the first black stripe we crocheted when we were going down. So it would be the middle stripe of the bee, and we're going to crochet them, or we're going to sew them on so they look like this. So we're going to start with just one. And we're going to look at where our color changes are. Mine's a little messed up. It should be about right here where your first color change was. So I'm just going to use my darning needle and put on the longer end that we had on our bee's wing. So we're going to line it up with our color changes there. And we are going to just stitch it on, making sure to catch the stitches below so we're not just sewing through the wing for no reason. But I just stitch around, grabbing different stitches, making sure it's nice and secured. And sometimes I'll even flip it a little bit like this, and I go on the back of it and stitch that on the back just to make sure it's super secured in there and it won't be falling off. Okay, so there's one wing sewn on. I'm going to just bring it back over here and I'll knot it off. You can even tie these two strands together nice and easy. And you can just tuck in those ends, and then we'll sew on the second wing. Then we'll sew on the second wing, same way we did the first one, so it's lined up together so they are touching. So we're gonna line up just like that and then sew it on. Now we're just going to take our scissors and give Mr. B a little haircut. And now to make the ends disappear, give him a little squish. They should all go into his head. If they need a little help, you can push them with your darning needle in a little bit, just to make sure they're all the way in. So that is the end of our little bee, and here he is with his little wings on, and I think he turned out super cute. So thank you so much if you watched all the way to the end and made your own little bee. Tag me on Instagram if you would like me to see what you made. I would really like to see it. And yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, comment down below if you'd like me to make any more tutorials, such as my mini frogs. I would kind of like to make a tutorial, so that might be coming up in the future. Making no promises, but it might be a thing in the future. But yes, thank you so much for making this little bee, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, week, evening. But yeah, thanks for making your little bee. I hope you really enjoy his company on your desk. So yeah, Austin with an E, signing out for now. Bye!